Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Welcome back to another. I was so dead right there, yo. I was so no energy, no enthusiasm, no nothing. I sounded like I was forced to hop on this motherfucker just now. My bad, bro. My bad. Yo, man. What's good with it? How y'all rocking? How was y'all Thanksgiving, man? I know some people out there might be like me. They don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but there's also some people out there, a lot of people out there, probably more so, more people than not, that celebrate Thanksgiving. So, man, how y'all rocking, bro? How y'all Thanksgiving was rocking, man? I hate Thanksgiving for a couple reasons. The biggest of which being I hate Thanksgiving food, bro. I do not eat Thanksgiving food. I'm a picky eater. I never eat. I don't really think it's a such thing as a picky eater as much as it is, bro. I know what I like and don't like, bro. It's as simple as that, bro. I know what I like and don't like. I don't like stuffing. I don't like cranberry, whatever. I don't like ham. I don't like turkey. I don't like no type of green bean casserole, no type of casserole, bro. All that shit disgusting, bro. And you wanna know what's crazy? At one point in time in my life, somebody had made some casserole for me. Well, not for me, but I had ate some casserole, and that shit was straight. Like, and I used to, and they kept making. I was like, man, this shit kind of lit. This shit kind of lit. And then eventually, the shit started tasting slimy to me and shit and mushy. So I was like, yeah, this shit a dub now. So what's some other Thanksgiving food? Stuffing. I think I already said stuffing. I think I done said that 2 times. Shit. What's the man? Y'all know, man. What you call that shit? I like mashed potatoes. I fuck with mashed potatoes heavy. I like corn. I like what's some shit, man? Y'all ain't helping me out, bro. Sheesh. I'm tripping, but with that being said, I do not like most Thanksgiving foods, bro. It's very rare. Like I saw a picture earlier today that was like make your perfect Thanksgiving feast or plate, and I didn't want nothing on that picture except for the mashed potatoes, bro. Like dead ass, bro. I don't know what it is, bro. Thanksgiving food is disgusting to me, and I done tried everything that there is to try for Thanksgiving. Turkey is dry. It don't matter how you make it. My uncle made some steamed turkey this year. Nasty. I done had fried turkey. Nasty. My sister made turkey legs. Nasty. You bake the turkey, rotisserie turkey. It don't matter, bro. Turkey is disgusting, bro, and it's always fucking dry. I don't eat pork, so I don't eat ham. Uh, Even though it's not that I'm against pork, I just think most pork is disgusting. If not all pork. It's very rare that I eat pork and I don't really eat pork. So it's not even that I don't eat pork. So if I do have a rare occasion where I run into some pork, and I'm trying to think of a rare occasion where I run into some pork, but ham is disgusting in every form. Lunch meat ham, and lunch meat period is disgusting. I like lunch. To me, I don't make sandwiches, bro, unless it's like a hamburger or a hot dog. But like lunch meat, I don't eat cold cuts, bro. I don't eat nothing that's cold meat, bro. Cold meat is disgusting to me, bro. Pause. Like that shit people be throwing together like onion, putting tomatoes, mayo, and all that shit, and motherfuckers be putting together. Disgusting. Lunch meat, cold meat is disgusting. I don't eat subs at all. I think subs is a waste of money, waste of like salad. Why would I pay to eat expensive grass, bro? I'm not a rabbit. Listen though, the moral of all that rant was Thanksgiving food is just dressing, nasty, yams, nasty. I hate pie. Like the only pie I eat is key lime pie. And the last couple of key lime pies I done ate was way too sweet or way too tart. Like the balance done been fucked up, so now I don't even eat key lime pie like that. But I will try some key lime pie if it's in front of me. No cap. But other than that, I hate every other type of pie. Pumpkin pie is that. Now, here's my question when it comes to pumpkin pie. And we're going to get into the NFL Week 12 predictions and shit in a minute and go over some of the games that happened yesterday on Thanksgiving. But listen, I was wondering something, right? So I like pumpkin spice. I like pumpkin spice lattes. I don't like the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks. It tastes weird. I don't even drink Starbucks, but I do get the pumpkin spice latte from there. I done it like 3 times. It just don't taste as good as the one at McDonald's to me. And then I done got the one from Dunkin' Donuts. That one tastes better than the one at McDonald's. And I got it from Krispy Kreme too, I think. Krispy Kreme makes some fire ass pumpkin spice donuts, bro. No cap, them shits be smacking. They look smaller than the regular glaze, but maybe it's because I don't eat Krispy Kreme, because I think Krispy Kreme is a disgusting child's donut. But maybe that's just me. I hate Krispy Kreme though. I know a lot of people love Krispy Kreme. The only donut that I eat from Krispy Kreme is the pumpkin spice latte donut. The pumpkin spice latte. The pumpkin spice donut, bro. Because I think Krispy Kreme is disgusting. And it's for children. And I've hated that shit for a long time. Like back in high school and shit, I hated Krispy Kreme donuts. Shit's nasty to me. I don't know how people eat that shit. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed y'all Thanksgiving. If you did celebrate it, there's some people who don't even celebrate it, who just eat food and shit. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, we had ribs at my Thanksgiving thing too. Like, and what's funny is we don't really. It's not like we celebrate the day, but it's not really a Thanksgiving. Like, cause we don't go around saying what we thankful for and shit like that. Like we almost don't even acknowledge the day, aside from the fact that we coming together to eat. And my family don't even really be a ton of them together no more and shit like that. So we're at the stages where a whole bunch of us is having to start our own families and shit like that. But either way, whatever you did yesterday, whether you celebrated and ate with your family, whether you was in front of a TV by yourself in an apartment by yourself or working or some type of shit, I hope you enjoyed your day yesterday. Now let's get into the games that happened yesterday. So the first game is about to take us all a couple minutes to talk about. Chicago, Detroit. Chicago got out of there with a 16-14 win. I did not watch that game. That game came on, I think they said at like 3 in the afternoon or something. Like, what's crazy is I don't know what time the game came on. But every year I be thinking to myself, like, this game come on so early, like it's no shot that I'm going to watch it. Because for one, I be knocked the fuck out still. Like, I wake up late on Thanksgiving Day. And then when I get up, the first couple things I'm thinking about is not watching the Detroit Lions. Or the Chicago Bears for that matter. Especially since I knew Justin Fields wasn't going to play. So, every year I act, like every year and I don't even know if it's always done started this early. Or maybe it start late. I really don't know what time that first game start, but I know it's always got Detroit in it most of the time. Why does Detroit get the fucking well, here's the thing. I don't really care that Detroit get that game every year if it's the first game. Because I feel like nobody watches that first game. To me, it's kind of like the NBA on Christmas. Like, nobody watches those first couple games, I don't think. Unless you're just a huge fan of those teams. Or you just, and so I know people who fans of teams who can't even sit down and watch those games on Christmas until like the late games. So I don't know, if you're a fan of the teams, maybe you make an effort to catch those games and whatnot. But to me, the early game on Thanksgiving, if Detroit is always gonna have that game, then fine, fuck it, you can let them keep having that game. But if you know what I'm saying, if they eventually back that game, and it's another thing that's crazy. Maybe if they put two good teams in that position, like in that time slot, people would make an effort to watch it. Like if Baltimore was playing in that time, I just don't feel like they're going to put a good team in that time slot because they don't even want to have to compete with people preparing for Thanksgiving, people sleeping in and shit like that. I feel like that's not something that the NFL going to ever want to compete with. So they always going to put an optional game on that's not really the biggest of games, but it is an option for you to watch if you ain't got shit else to do in that moment. So I feel like they would never put like the top teams in that position. But let's just say they do fuck around and fuck with it and try it one year. Like if they were to put like the Chargers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, or a big team in that slot, maybe more people would try to watch it. But I really don't think people would. I just think that's an impossible time slot on that day specifically. You know, it's different on Sundays when you know the game is coming on, and even on Sundays when they do them London games. I cannot remember the last time I watched a London game. Now, granted, also bad teams playing the London game, but it's just so hard to watch a London game when it starts that early. But Sunday a little bit different because the game starts on 1, but you've been preparing for that all week. You know what I'm saying? That usually nothing going on a Sunday. For the NFL on Thanksgiving Day specifically, it feel like that first game start early enough to where a lot of people waking up, doing shit, preparing and shit like that, so nobody really paying attention to it. So I really don't think even if you did put good teams right there, that would be a good decision, because I feel like people ain't gonna really fuck their routines up on Thanksgiving because shit have to be done, food got to be cooked and shit like that, and got to be done at a certain time. So I feel like, yeah, I guess you could just keep putting Detroit right there, but I don't know, man. I really don't think Detroit should be on Thanksgiving Day every year, unless you telling me that they're going to always be in that spot right there. To which, I mean, I guess you could, I don't know, man. Detroit's a terrible team. The only thing that happened good for Detroit yesterday was that they ended up losing the game, because I saw at one point in time they was almost winning the game. Like, it looked like they was about to win the game. But they ended up losing, making sure that they continue to get that number 1 pick. But the next 2 games, so yeah, let me talk about this one first. Buffalo, New Orleans was the nighttime game. And now this is another thing that's weird, because so Buffalo won this game 31-6. Nobody, I feel like the whole world really wasn't watching this game either. Like, I feel like all the eyes that could have been on this game was not on this game. I feel like a whole bunch of other people, because like late night on Thanksgiving, I know at least me and a whole bunch of my homies and a lot of people in my family, we go to different like house parties, like not parties, like just like kickbacks and shit like that. Like, we might be drinking, smoking, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Not like clubbing or nothing like that. But a lot of people going to like little gatherings and shit like that. And maybe we throw the game on the TV that's in there, but we're not really watching the game. The game really at a certain point watching us. And I feel like that's what happened last night. Like, the game started watching us. And I can't remember if it's always been like that in recent years. Like, I don't watch Baltimore play Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving. I don't know, man. I felt like this was a weird year for Thanksgiving games, man, because I feel like not a shit ton of people really watched or cared about that Buffalo-New Orleans game, especially since it was a blowout. And I told y'all New Orleans was a fraudulent team, so that's not shocking to me that they blew them out. But I think I saw a stat where Josh Allen got like 7 interceptions in his last 4 starts. That is kind of crazy. I think it's been a weird year for a lot of quarterbacks, for a lot of teams, for a lot of players. But yeah, just a weird game as far as like, I feel like in recent years, maybe the last 2 years, and COVID was the excuse last year, but man, it just don't feel like a shit ton of, and I could be wrong. Like, I could be wrong. Don't take my word as law. But it don't feel like this game had a shit ton of eyes on it. And I'm gonna tell you why I think that is. I said that, I don't know why I said. Well, I do know why I said it like that. I said it like that because I thought I was gonna go back to it, but no, I'm gonna say it right now. I think because when you have 3 different games on Thanksgiving, right? One of the problems is, so in 2000, it's so weird because so when I was coming up, everybody was around each other for Thanksgiving at first. Like, the older folks was around the older folks, the younger folks was around the younger folks, and we was on video games and shit like that. Then it got to one point where I got older, and the older folks was upstairs, like, or in one room watching TV and eating and shit on Thanksgiving, and the other folks was in and the younger folks, like the kids, was playing in the front, in like a different room area, some shit like that. And then the teenagers was probably downstairs watching football and drinking. Then, as I got older, old folks would still be doing the same thing. Kids would be doing the same thing. But then the younger folks really started, like, either we was playing a game with a game on in the back, with the football game on in the back, or we just wasn't watching or we was like going to like the kickbacks, like I said, with the game on there, and it would be watching us. Unless it was like a good game, like I said, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. So I feel like if the games weren't so bad, like, and some of these games are close, like the Detroit game was a close game, but the thing is, I told y'all a couple podcasts ago, And thank you for joining me on this podcast episode. Like, subscribe, share. I appreciate y'all for taking the time out of y'all. I don't know why it took me so long to get into that. I appreciate y'all for joining me though. Rock with me. But I think like when you got 3 games on that day, bro, and they like, cause I understand that the Detroit Chicago game was close, but I said it on a couple podcasts ago that close game don't mean it was a good game. And when neither offense can score, that don't mean that the defense has played great. That just mean the offense has had just atrocious days or abnormal days, or it was just an offense that usually struggles to score. So I think that's what the Chicago game was, and that's clearly what the New Orleans game was. And the thing was, Josh Allen didn't look good early. He ended up, throwing for 4 touchdowns in the end, though. And New Orleans defense, after I had hyped them up, they starting to look bad, even though, like I said, I can't really get too mad at their defense when you got an offense as bad as they got. Haven't been good since they lost Jameis, man. I try to tell y'all what that offense was, man. Jameis was keeping the fucking team afloat because he was better than people give him credit for. He was being suffocated in a bozo-style offense that Sean Payton run and continue to be called an offensive guru. I don't know why, but now you see what's happening when you have a quarterback that's not good and he's trying to run this same goofy-ass offense all the time, bro. I don't get it. And you keep giving Taysom Hill extension, so I don't understand why he ain't the one starting anyways, but whatever. But that was a bad game, so I'm starting to feel like if these games continue to be bad games on a yearly basis, where teams either getting blown out or it's just a boring game that nobody really care to watch, this is the shit that's going to keep happening. Because I feel like the only game people watched yesterday was the Cowboys Raiders game. And most of the what's funny is most of the people who I know watched it was going for the Cowboys. It was a lot of Cowboys fans watching it. And obviously the Cowboys lost this game in overtime. 36-33. But I feel like the NFL going to have to figure something out with these games going forward, bro. Because maybe they're getting a shit ton of viewership still, but it don't feel like it used to feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it used to feel like people was watching these games. It don't feel like people watching these games no more. Like, it felt like people chose to watch 1 out of the 3 games yesterday. And the people who had to watch some of these games probably just caught some of the highlights or put the game on in the background and said that they was watching it. But I don't know how you can expect people to say, let me take time out of this day to watch. Or even when we sitting down eating, let's put on the game instead of a movie when you got the Saints getting their ass beat at home in a game in which nobody wants to watch. Not even Chicago and fucking Lion fans probably made an effort to take time out of their day to watch that game. So, I don't know, man. I think I would even say maybe make it 2 teams play on that day. Well, meaning 4 teams, 2 games, 4 teams. And I would say have 2 of the better 4. If you have a nighttime game, so I feel like you should do it like the late games on Sunday, the 4 o'clock, then the 8 o'clock. I feel like the 4 o'clock game should have 2 decent teams that's fighting for. You got to have teams that's fighting for something. Detroit's not fighting for shit, so nobody cares to watch them. Y'all about to find out that the Saints ain't playing for shit or fighting for shit. So that was a pointless game to have on there. We're going to find out sooner or later if Chicago fighting for shit. I don't think Chicago fighting for shit. I don't think that team's making the playoffs, but, we'll see how that plays out. I'm pretty sure we know how it's going to play out, but I just think when you got 3 teams on the schedule, and fuck, the Raiders was coming into this game barely hanging on to a thread. Technically, the only 2 good teams that was playing for something yesterday was the Cowboys and the Bills. So I feel like when you put in, like I said, to an extent, the Raiders, now definitely the Raiders after they picked up that win yesterday, but I just feel like if you're gonna keep doing the Thanksgiving Day games and you want to maximize the viewership or the possible odds you can get on the games, I feel like that what you're gonna have to do is you gotta put 2 teams that's gonna get into a dogfight, that's fighting for something, so it can feel like a big game. Chicago Detroit, nobody thinks those are good teams, most likely. So nobody cares to see two teams put a 14-16 in that type of game. Nobody cares. They wasn't fighting for nothing for one, so we want to see them just throw up a whole bunch of points, and they couldn't do that. So that's a terrible game to have right there. And like I said, the fucking Saints, man, like, and the fact that you can't flex games and shit like this on days like this, meaning to me, that means you got to start getting these right. Like, you got to start nailing these. Now, injuries is unpredictable. I get that. But you got to start nailing some of these picks. Like, you knew a couple weeks ago the Saints. Listen, fuck that. Let's go back to how I think we can fix this shit. So, on that first game, I say that game should start at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At the latest, 4:30, 4:25. Maybe at the latest 5 o'clock. But I think you need to start it around that 4 o'clock time, that 4:30, 4:25 time frame. 4 o'clock, 4:30 time frame. I think you put two teams that's fighting for playoff spots. Like, they might not be the leaders in their division, but they are playoff contending teams, meaning they are fighting. Every win matters for them. So, and it don't even have to be like the Chiefs, the Ravens, the fucking Tampa Bay. I'm not talking about put one of them top teams in that first game. I'm saying don't put no trash teams, or let me not even say trash. Don't put two teams in that slot that are playing for absolutely nothing. And don't put a game in that slot where it's only one of those two teams playing for something. Because I understand upsets can happen. But I don't give a fuck. That's not what I'm not. I don't want to watch again. If the upset happened, whoop-de-fucking-do. But I'm not watching that game in anticipation that an upset is going to happen. I'm watching that game anticipating that the better team is going to win, because one team's playing for a playoff spot, the other one's waiting for the draft to roll around. So put two teams in that slot. And an example, and I hate to do this to Pittsburgh. This year, Pittsburgh is not a great offensive team, right? But they are fighting for a playoff spot. I would put Pittsburgh in that slot. Pittsburgh and another. So you're not putting like one of the top AFC teams in there. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are fighting for a playoff spot. So you put them in there. And I know they offensively challenged, and I wouldn't want to see Pittsburgh play particularly either. But I'm just saying, if you don't want to throw those top 3 or top 4 heavy hitters in the AFC, NFC teams in there, you could put that second tier. If it's a game with two of those second-tier teams in the AFC on there, then that's the first game that I think should go in that 4 o'clock slot. Then the nighttime game that usually going to start around 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:20 something, that's when you put the two good teams, the two legitimate, they are going to be in the playoff teams in that slot. And it will be a game that week where it's two big-time teams playing. You put that game in that slot. Example, Baltimore and the Browns. That could have been a game that was in that slot, just like Baltimore and Pittsburgh was in that slot a couple years ago. Put a great team in that slot, and that's how you maximize the viewership. I don't think it need to be 3 games, and I definitely don't think the Detroit Lions need to have one of them slots. You put two teams that's fighting for a playoff spot in that first game, which is a 4 o'clock game, or 4:25, 4:30. At the absolute latest 5 o'clock. And then you put two playoff teams that are battling against each other that week in the nighttime game. And bam, I believe you get more viewership that way. I definitely would watch if it was like that. But I'm not finna sit down and try to catch the fucking Bills play the Saints and the fucking not the Cowboys, and the fucking Detroit play the fucking Bears. Like, no, bro. I wouldn't have caught that game even if Justin Fields was playing. Not on this type of day. You just gotta, that's what I'm saying. You gotta understand the games and maximize them. Now, the game that I feel like most people did sit down and watch, and not really because they thought it was going to be a good game, even though I think when you looked at the slate, this was the only game that was possibly, to me, looked like it could be a good game, because the other games went exactly how I thought they was going to go. This one was the good game. Now, why was it a good game? I don't know. A lot of people say. I actually don't think this game was as good as some people would tell you it was. And a lot of people I done heard didn't even think this was a good game. It just came down to the wire. So we say that it's a good game when shit like that happened. But it was really an annoying game. 28 fucking flags was thrown in this game yesterday. Both teams had over 14. That's out. Both teams gave up over 100 plus yards of flat penalties. Like, this The refs, I saw it on the Pat McAfee show, so I don't want y'all to think I'm stealing a quote or nothing like this. I did not make this up. I saw it on the Pat McAfee show. The man was correct. The fucking refs had an all-star game yesterday. They had an all-star game. Now, I'm not going to go as far as he did and start cheering for them bozos, but yeah, this starting to become a problem. This starting to become a fucking problem. Can't have the refs determining games and shit like that now. Now, this is what I will say. Aside from these bozo moronic ass refs who continue to just decide, like some of the worst calls in my opinion is this is one of the reasons I think they should just go ahead and eliminate the kickoff, because if you got these goofy ass refs that immediately are, because this is the thing, I see if some of these penalties was blatant penalties, it's almost as if the refs are just looking to throw the flag at this point, bro. Every fucking time a team get a kick return or a punt, you throw the fucking illegal block from the back or a holding. Like, come, bro, you cannot be this dense, bro. Like, come on. Nobody came and paid all that money to see you throw the flag. Like, and I don't want to hear, oh, man, we got to call it a certain way. Bro, I promise you neither team gonna give a fuck if you choose not to call a fucking holding, a block in the back, every fucking kick return or punt return, bro. Like, that is legitimately killing drives to begin the game. Or killing drives to begin the drives, honestly. That's what happened to Dallas in overtime. Like, it's starting to feel like these refs think that they the superstars. And I'm telling you something, man. They starting to get closer and closer to becoming as bad as these NBA refs, bro. These NBA refs is atrocious, bro. I watched Anthony Edwards dunk on somebody on a highlight, and they called a fucking offensive foul. Bro, it is an unwritten rule in basketball that anytime a motherfucker get posterized, that's a blocking foul, not an offensive foul. Like, NBA refs are just fucking idiots, bro. I'm so done with NBA refs. That's why NBA viewership keep going down, bro. Dead ass. People wanted to say the Golden State Warriors when they had Clay, Dre, Steph, and KD was killing the NBA. That's cap. People was watching. A whole shit ton of people watched. People love that type of shit. Motherfuckers hate watching now that it's no super team and motherfucking referees is deciding games left and right, bro. Calling 15, 16 seconds. Motherfuckers was giving James Harden almost fucking 14 to 20 points a game off of free throws, bro. How can you expect fans to come and watch that type of stoppage in the action that much, bro? Because your goofy ass came thinking that we wanted to see you just blow your whistle all fucking night. That's why I can't watch the NBA until All-Star break, bro. Can't deal with that shit. I don't understand people who can, but hey, that Detroit game, I mean that the Dallas and Raider game, to me that's unacceptable. I saw a stat that was like that was the most flags thrown in the game in the past 8 years, almost 2 decades, and the game ain't got this outrageous with the fucking flags. And I don't want to hear people say, oh, well, they didn't have to commit, bro. Over half of them flags they thrown didn't have to be thrown. That's my problem. Some of these ticky-tack fucking flags that they call on the weekly. Like the NFL, man, they definitely, the people up top, man, they definitely got to have a meeting with these refs, bro. They got to go through these tapes and like, listen, dude, you don't have to call this right here, bro. This is a up in the air, not a clear and obvious penalty. Like, it's not clear and obvious that he is holding, bruh. Now, if a motherfucker just completely got his whole hand wrapped around the dude grabbing him, you could clearly see his. I get that. But some of these ticky-tack flags, bro, that don't have to happen. Now, with that being said, I agree with all 4 of the flags that they threw on Anthony Brown. I know some Dallas fans ain't going to be happy to hear that. But that motherfucker actually did commit PI every fucking time he got thrown for it, bro. And to me, it's kind of, I don't even know who you blame. Like, because Anthony Brown haven't been that bad this season. This was probably his worst, as bad as it's going to get for him the rest of the season. Like, I was thinking about this earlier today. Anthony Averett had his bad game against the Colts, and I was like, he been good all year, so he'll get over that game. But he actually got worse after that game, and Baltimore has got one of the absolute Baltimore's defense get progressively worse every game. The secondary is just absolutely atrocious at this point. They can't stop anything, bro. They give up big play every single week. Only 2 teams in the league give up more big plays than Baltimore. They're giving up this week, and if you give it long enough, Baltimore will end up with number 1 in that slot because they give up big plays every single week. No adjustments have been made. No scheme change. No, the players ain't playing harder. It don't look like they going out committing the same bozo moronic ass. Like, it's atrocious to watch. Anthony Brown, I mean, I feel like you got it. I know you trust him because how good he been playing this season, but I mean, at some point in time, you gotta make a change because you gotta give him help or something because he got called for all 4 of those on third downs. Now this is what's crazy. The Raiders picked up more third down conversions on pass interferences than they actually picked up by themselves on converting. They only converted 3 of their third downs for I think 3 for 15 or 3 for 11 or something like that. I apologize for not having the exact stat right in front of me, but that just go to show you how good Dallas's defense still is, even though they gave up a lot of points, but it be like that sometimes. It be like that. But I really, listen, I know I went on that rant about the flags and shit like that, and I know I just said that I agreed with the flags that they threw on Anthony, especially the one in overtime, bro. Like, the one in overtime, you can't have it. If you turn around, bro, you have an interception. That's my problem with the play. It's very clear. Anytime you see corner, and to me, it's very clear. Let me just say that. It was very clear to me when you look at that play. It's a PI. The dude is basically tackling. You cannot get mad at Deshaun Jackson for going back for that ball because he didn't even run back into the cornerback like I be seeing dudes do for the Colts. Like when I said Carson Wentz was underthrowing balls and they receivers was just running back to the ball, having to run through the cornerback, that's one thing. Derek Carr underthrew that ball, yes. But Deshaun Jackson had already turned around and was going for the ball. Brown was basically tackling him and running into him. So Deshaun Jackson couldn't do nothing but try to extend his arms and go back for the ball. If Anthony Brown just turned around, he got an interception. At the worst, he gonna knock the ball down. So yes, that's a PI. My boy, you can't play that way. You can't just have your head driving him into the receiver and never turning around to look for the ball. You're not playing the ball at that point. So yeah, I agree with his PIs, and that's what was happening on most of them. You can't keep holding the receiver. Like, it is what it is. Maybe you don't get called for it on a regular basis. I get that. And I don't agree with how often you might have got called for it. But come on, man. Some of them holding calls and some of the to me, all the PI calls was very obvious they was getting those calls right. So I can't even get mad at those calls. Because to me, yeah, they cornerbacks was fucking up this game. They was doing a lot of holding and a lot of PI. I had no problem with that, especially when you're doing it in overtime. Like, come on, bro. It's 3rd and long, and you give up that absolute goofball play. Like I said, if you just turn around and play the ball, you got an interception, bro. And even with that, the defense stayed in the game as long as it could, but until Dallas's offense got it together. But to me, that's what I want to talk about. The Raiders got one of the worst run defenses in the NFL, and the fucking Dallas chose just not to run the ball, basically. Like 20 or 19 carries in total. I just feel like they played that game so wrong. And now Dallas, after I said they was the best team in the NFC, which is, listen, amending that comment. Clearly, they are not the best team in the AFC and in the NFC. But man, Dallas, I think, is going to beat the teams in their division, so they're still going to make the playoffs off of that. But man, you was competing for the first seed, bro. You was gonna have to have teams go through Dallas, and now you're losing these type of games. And I don't know, man. I don't think Dallas. This not a game Dallas supposed to lose. For one, the Raiders are reeling, bro. They done lost their last 3 games. You at home. So yeah, that was a tough one for Dallas to lose, man. They just a tough one for them to lose. But now we're gonna get into these predictions for the week. Tampa Bay, Indy. This is going to be a good game. I'm ignoring Carson Wentz's day off last week, basically. I think he threw for like 105 or 108 yards. He basically got the day off. And I also Brady and they just blew out the fucking Giants. Listen, y'all know what I feel about Brady. If Brady have a bad game, for one, I'm not gonna care. I have to always make that known. I feel like if Brady struggles, I will not care. It will not make me change my opinion on what I think about the Buccaneers. Because Brady's just been there, done that, bro. I trust he's going to, mind you, I think they're going to win this game also, and it's in Indy. But I'm skeptical. I was hesitant to pick them to win this game because obviously if Brady struggled, could care less because I blame that on age more so than anything else. But he's starting to get all his can't even talk. He's starting to get his guys healthy again. Gronk's back, which to me is the biggest thing. Start dinking it and dunking it a lot, but I think I don't really care for that either. Like I said, I know I trust Brady more than I trust any quarterback in the league, so I hold Brady to complete different standards, and I give him a pass that I probably do not give other quarterbacks, to be completely honest with you. But Brady done earned that. He the GOAT, so deal with it. I feel like Carson gonna have a great game. I think Carson gonna ball out, and I think Jonathan Taylor gonna have a good game too. But he ain't doing what he did last week. Especially if Vita Vea is back like that. I read a report that said he could play this week. So you got to deal with Vea, Sue, White, David, damn, how I forget my boy's name? Levante Davis. Good Lord. So JPP. I feel like it's gonna be a tougher game. And I know Tampa Bay's defense haven't been all that this year, but I feel like that's an older defense. They got older players. They do got young players mixed in there, but they got a lot of older guys. They're going to get it going eventually like they did last year. I got full faith in them boys. And it's like I saw a reporter or somebody said it this week on ESPN or whatever. Vita Vea eats up double teams. He don't take them home. He eat them up. There's a difference. And I agree 1,000%. Now, I keep saying it. I say it every week when we talk about the Colts. Every game is a must-win for the Colts. Every game is a must-win. Now, if the fucking Titans keep losing or start to reel and start, because the Titans got a tough game coming up this week too, I think it's going to, they just can't take their foot off the brake. Every game is a must-win. Now, obviously, I'm not picking them to win this game, but I don't want to keep giving myself this out by basically saying I wouldn't be surprised if they win. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win. But this one is a little bit different because you got to understand, the Colts they played well enough to beat Baltimore. Lamar Jackson just put the cape on and stepped into the booth. Stepped into the booth and then stepped out with the cape on, glasses off. You know what I'm saying? And, Carson Wentz, kind of made some bozo mistakes in that Titans game. But this is a good team. With a great offensive line, with a good head coach, good defense, great players, great stars on the team. Robert Mathis is going into the Ring of Honor this weekend, I believe. So it's going to be big. And, they hate Tom Brady. And I almost switched my pick. But I'm going to take the Bucs right now. I think Tom Brady going to go in there and not give an absolute fuck what's going on. He going to give it to Robert Mathis again. About to fuck his old day up. Now, what's interesting is Carson Wentz has been playing pretty good this year. Now, I don't care about the stat that say 20-something touchdowns, 2 picks. Like I said, if you look at pick-worthy plays, turnover-worthy plays, Carson Wentz got a couple of them. Motherfuckers is just giving him that Patrick Mahomes treatment. They drop a lot of his interceptions, or a lot of his interceptions get called back due to penalties. So don't care too much about that. And last week they did a lot of taking the balls out of his hand, which you can do when you have a running game that's doing what it was doing. But Carson Wentz gonna have to make plays this week. I think Carson Wentz could make a mistake this week against this team. Now, like I said, Brady could have the old age hit him at the wrong moment, so dudes could bobble some passes. Hey, anything can happen. Brady could turn in one of them old man games. I don't think he will this week. I think the Bucks, Brady and the Bucks will. I think Brady and the Bucks about to go on a run. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think they're about to go on a run. Now, next, divisional game. Philadelphia, New York Giants. It ain't no way in hell I'm taking the New York Giants. Listen, the New York Giants got their asses beat last week, and I don't even care too much about them getting their asses beat because I expect the Giants to get their ass. The Giants, what y'all see, what people got to realize is, to be completely honest with you, the Giants been one of the worst teams the last couple of years also. Like, so this expectation that the Giants are going to win and shit like that, I don't know who have that. I do not expect the Giants to win most of the games that they play. They not win. I don't believe that they're going to win this one. It wouldn't surprise me if they did because the Eagles could turn into a bad team again. And the Eagles, yeah, I know a lot of people say the Eagles been beaten bad. I don't give a fuck. The Eagles have started to look like they found their stride a little bit. Like they know a little bit of what they're doing now. And so I'm definitely taking the Eagles. And like I say every time I pick the Eagles could not put up a big game throwing the ball. But they are good running the ball. And I think that would be plenty good enough between Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders in that running game, and the defense doing what they do, especially Darius Slay balling in the last couple of weeks, because Daniel Jones gonna give you some anyways. Like Daniel Jones might get him 1 or 2 picks this game, might fumble the ball 1 or 2 times this game. The Eagles are gonna have opportunities to get extra possessions in this game. It's all about them converting their third downs. Shit, possibly not even having too many third downs and getting that running game going. Because if they can if they dominate on the ground, the Eagles are going to win this game. They're going to dominate the time of possession. And even though Saquon back there, I mean, the Giants' run game don't look good right now. Saquon Barkley at this point, you have to say, is injury prone. I need to look up, have Saquon even had an 1,000-yard season yet rushing the ball? And then you got, I mean, I like Kenny Galladay, but he ain't changing life for that team because, like I said, Daniel Jones ain't it. To me, he is not a quarterback, not a good quarterback. He average at best right now. I'm not willing to say he below average yet, either though that's where he really teetering to because he turned the ball over a lot. Yeah, like I just don't trust him. So, yeah, I'm taking Philly to win that game. Carolina, Miami. I told y'all on that other podcast, bro. Starting now, after the loss to Washington, Carolina goes undefeated. So, listen, I like Tua. Tua been, I don't want to say he been balling, but he been getting, to me, he been decent the last couple weeks, man. He been decent. No, he don't throw for a shit ton of average on his pass. I think his average yards per throw is under 7 yards on the season. And obviously, Tua been hurt a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know what the fuck Miami gonna do right now, bro. Like, are they gonna keep Tua, or are they going after Deshaun Watson in the all season? Miami, a confusing team. Obviously, they beat Baltimore. I really, to be completely honest with you, I think this was funny. Miami got a good roster, so it don't make sense that they was playing as bad to begin with, anyways. Miami seemed to not be sold on the most important part of their team, the quarterback position, which would make me say, why did you draft Tua in the first place? Now, if you know you can get Deshaun Watson, I don't know why you won't just trade what you have to trade to get him. Like, I don't understand dangling this over Tua's head. Like, I just don't understand the process Miami going through right now to deal with this franchise. But listen, I think Carolina understand the assignment this weekend. Cam Newton, to me, looked good last week along with Christian McCaffrey. They going to have another week under their belt. Cam going to knock some more rust off this week, and I think this is going to be a dub for the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers defense, I think, going to have a big game this week too. Miami's offense is like, they struggle to score, so It's I'm trying to decide what Tua gonna show up. Tua really they haven't had a phenomenal version of himself yet, but they are in Miami, so it's a man. I'm not contemplating which team I'm taking. I like Tua, so I want Tua to succeed. I just don't know if he's gonna succeed in Miami because it don't feel like Miami want Tua, to be honest with you. But Atlanta, Jacksonville, boy, boy, boy. Now I know a lot of people probably expected me to pick Atlanta, but I am so because of all the shit I done said about Jacksonville, right? But it's in Jacksonville, and I was gonna pick Atlanta because I'm like, man, as bad as Matt Ryan done been, ain't no way he go down to Jacksonville and lose to Jacksonville, right? But what I've been seeing from the Falcons the last couple weeks make me believe that the Falcons is just as bad offensively as the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, I'm going to still take the Falcons. And I was real close to taking Jacksonville too. The reason I'm taking the Falcons is because I believe Matt Ryan will be able to get some cheese off in this game. This will probably be one of the games. Now, you draft Kyle Pitts this high. This better be a game that he end up dominating. This is a game that he can dominate. This ain't no team that's way better than y'all. If anything, this is a team that's just as bad as y'all, if not worse. Kyle Pitts should be able to dominate this game. Kyle Pitts was drafted way too high not to dominate the Jags, in my opinion. I don't like saying the full name. This is a game Kyle Pitts should at least get close to 100-something yards, right? I mean, if you can't pull Kyle Pitts out and have him go nuts against the Jags, then I don't know. And another reason I'm not taking the Jags, because I don't really feel good about picking the Falcons, because I really don't like the Falcons offense right now. You don't have Calvin Ridley. I'm not a fan of you drafting the tight end that early, especially with Matt Ryan on clearly in the midst of a decline. And as good as the defense played the last time they played, I can't count on them to have that type of performance again. But I do think they'll be able to dial up some sort of performance like that against the Jags. Because the Jags are so offensively challenged. And like one of the reasons I'm also picking the Falcons, because I'm just trusting that Matt Ryan, from what I've seen in the past, he can muster up one of them games again. He don't even have to be great, just be good. Because I just have no faith in the Jacksonville offensive play calling. It's atrocious. To me, the Raiders in Baltimore are terrible when it comes to calling plays on a third down. Just bad. I watched a game where Baltimore didn't pick up like 10 third downs in a row before picking up one. Bro, the fucking Jacksonville Jaguars play calling is so bad sometimes to me, man. And I done said this a lot this year, and I said a lot about a lot of other teams, but Jacksonville is easily, to me, the worst offense, because I don't count Detroit. Detroit's just a complete, I don't know what to say about Detroit. But the Jags play calling, bruh. I really feel like if the Jags had a better play, obviously if they had a better head coach, but if they also had some better play calling, they probably could get a couple of these games won. Like, the defense done played good enough in some of these games to win them games, bro. Like, it's no two ways around it. The defense has been good enough in some of these games to win them games. It's the offense has been atrocious. And I'm not blaming that on Trevor Lawrence. He's a rookie. That's why you have to sign a head coach and an offensive coordinator that can make up for him being a rookie. You can't bring in a rookie head coach on the NFL level and then, oh my goodness. I'm taking the Falcons to win. I don't feel comfortable. I actually hope I'm wrong. Like, I hope Trevor Lawrence can find a way to get his team this win. Like, if the defense get them to win, I'm not going to care too much, because that would probably mean Trevor Lawrence still struggle. I want to see Trevor Lawrence have a big game against Atlanta. The Rams, Green Bay, the Rams coming off of that dud against the fucking 49ers. And Green Bay coming off a very interesting loss where the defense been carrying them all year. They struggle. Aaron Rodgers haven't really had a great game this year, and he had a great game finally. And they lost to Kirk Cousins and the Vikings. Very interesting. Now, I think this, every fucking time I say that I think the Packers is in a game of importance, and I be like, oh, this is going to be a good game. The Packers offense don't show up, and neither do the other team's offense. But I think this will be different. So I'm not taking Matthew Stafford over Aaron Rodgers. That's just not going to happen. Even though Aaron Rodgers haven't really had an Aaron Rodgers type of game to me yet this year. I don't think he's going to dominate this game. Like, I don't think he's going to go crazy in this game either. This might be a game where he relied a lot on the running backs and on the dinking and the dunking and the short routes and shit. But I think he's going to end up winning. I think the Packers going to end up winning this game. I think the Packers defense going to come back to life this game. As do I think the Rams defense is going to look a lot better this game. But I still think the Rams defense might get gashed a couple times. Oh, I don't know. A.J. Dillon is decent. He good, but he ain't, without Aaron Jones to have that 1-2 punch, this might be a better game for the Rams. I think both defenses will look good. But I think the reason I'm taking the Packers is because I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I trust Matthew Stafford. It is really as simple as that. And the game is in Green Bay. So, I'm taking the Packers. And I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams won, obviously. Because the Rams are a good team. But this is a team of two of the top teams in the NFC. I feel like it's in Green. Like, if this game was in LA, I would take the Rams. But because it's in Green Bay and I trust, and it's even with me trusting Rodgers more than I trust Stafford. But if it was in LA, I feel like they had that extra. But because it's in Green Bay, I feel like Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will find a way to get it done. Minnesota, San Francisco. Now, what's funny is I wanted to take Minnesota, and I think I'm still gonna take Minnesota. But I was kind of double out because, man, Kirk Cousins might go out there and lay an absolute dud for the simple fact last week might have been his Super Bowl. So this week he might go out there and lay an absolute dud against this fucking San Fran team. But here's the thing. If you stop San Fran from running crazy on offense, I think San Fran will be beat. But here's the thing. Minnesota got to get the passing game going early. I understand you got Dalvin Cook, and yeah, you good at running the ball. If you get Kirk Cousins going early, and you get that pass, those catchers, those receivers going early, it's going to be tough for San Fran to keep up, because that's not a team that's going to want to play from behind with Jimmy Garoppolo. They're going to want to control the pace of the game. They're going to want to play from in front with the running game, so they continue to run the ball. So if you get into a situation where you got to play from behind and have to find ways to stop all these different type of fucking run formations and run concepts that Kyle Shanahan like to draw up, you're going to be in a very advantageous situation. And obviously you could say that about a lot of teams when you're playing from behind, but specifically when you're a team that run the ball far more than you throw the ball, because you're likely to get bigger yards, chunk yards through the air than on the ground. And now it's possible to get big chunk yards on the ground, but when you're playing from behind, you don't usually see that happen. So, and maybe that's because teams decide to throw it more. But with that being said, I really feel like, and this is funny, because I don't know why it take this many times for Mike Zimmer to see his team succeed throwing the ball to decide, oh, well, maybe we should throw the ball a little bit more and draw up some better concepts throwing the ball. But he could end up going into this game this week and just completely throwing that out the window. I don't believe he will. I believe they'll build off of last week. I mean, the Vikings right there in the heart of making that those last spots in the wild card for the NFC. They could still make a run for that. So I think I'm gonna take Minnesota in this game, and I'm not confident about that, but yeah, I think I'm gonna take Minnesota. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati divisional game. I'm taking Cincinnati. It's just hard for me to take. And Joe Burrow didn't really look amazing against the Raiders last week, and their offense haven't really looked as explosive as it did when it played against Baltimore, even though, like I said, I don't think Joe Burrow really dominated or really did nothing special that game. Our defense let him have wide open completions down the field all game. And then they just wouldn't tackle dudes when he threw for short plays. They let short plays go for deep plays. And so it was over quick, and Lamar could do nothing to get his team back in this game because the defense had already built such a big hole for itself. I think Cincinnati's offense is a little bit in between what we done seen from the beginning of the season, what we've been seeing lately. Now, I told y'all in the beginning of the season, the Cincinnati offense had games where they looked like three different teams. At one point in the game, they looked like a team that's just completely lost, don't know what the fuck going on, don't know how to play football. And another part of the game, they look like a team that's absolutely dominant, know exactly what they calling, what they running, all that. And then another part of the game, they look like a team that's right in between, where, yeah, we good, but we going to keep shooting ourselves in the foot here and there by just doing absolute stupid shit. But then we'll turn right around and do something great on that same drive. So it's three different teams. You never know what you're going to get. Jekyll, Hyde, or both at the same time. And so but with that being said, Pittsburgh offense, if I'm taking the worst game with the best games and then finding that balance in between, Pittsburgh offense ain't good. And I think Pittsburgh, now it's a weird thing because Pittsburgh going to play up to the competition as far as like in the divisional games, I think. So I do believe Pittsburgh will be competitive in this game. But this could be a game. And the reason I think these are going to be competitive is because these defenses don't seem to be doing what Baltimore's defenses is doing. Baltimore's defense is, like I said, just giving up breakdowns in defense. It's leaving dudes wide open. Like they're not even competing, not tackling, not getting to the quarterback, giving quarterback all day to throw the ball. To the credit of Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland, they defenses usually is not in that situation where they just blowing coverages and shit like that left and right, or giving the quarterback all year to throw the ball and shit. So these games, I believe, are going to be more competitive. That's why I believe Baltimore is no in between with Baltimore. Either they're going to squeak out a close win, or they're going to get their asses torched, because they can't seem to blow teams out this year because of how wishy-washy and more so bad than good the defense is. And the offense done had games where they just struggle to get going. And when you relying on this defense to stay consistent through a whole game, they will eventually let you down. And that's been proven all year. So I think it's a little bit different with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I don't think their defenses are going to come to the show and put on absolute duds. So I think this is going to be a close game, but I do believe, like Pittsburgh lost to the Chargers last week, they might have drives where the offense struggle. And Cincinnati, if they can capitalize on those drives and take a 2-touchdown lead, that might be too much for Pittsburgh to be able to come back and win with, because they might run on E after trying to come back from that. Even if they end up tying it up, that should give Cincinnati the ball last, possibly, to win the game. So I do believe Cincinnati going to get a close win. Maybe they win it by 3 points, 4 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I am taking Cincinnati at home. Tennessee, New England. Interesting game, because obviously you could say, well, Tennessee just lost to the Titans last week. So Tennessee just lost to the Titans last week. Good Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. But Tennessee lost to the Texans last week, so I know a lot of people could be thinking that could be fresh in a lot of people's head. Not in mine, don't care. I am taking New England to win this game for the simple reason I just don't know what Tennessee going to do on offense at this point. They starting to run out of options on offense. They can't run the ball. They done let Adrian Peterson go. I saw a funny stat that said Adrian Peterson played 1.5 games for them, and they or 2 games, and he already scored more touchdowns than Julio done scored. Don't know if Julio comes back this week. I don't think he does. A.J. Brown haven't really been productive the last couple of weeks. I don't really blame him for that. I think the passing concepts and shit on this team is bad when you can't run the ball to draw up plays off of that. And they haven't been able to run the ball the last couple of weeks without Derrick Henry. So the Titans put me in a weird position where I can't pick them because I just don't know how they going to win this game. Like, their defense is going to have to dominate. Mac Jones is going to have a bad game, turning a ball over like crazy, and then they're going to have to capitalize off of it. The problem is, I think that the more likely thing to happen is that the Patriots defense is going to dominate this game. Like, I think the Patriots defense is not playing against Derrick Henry, so they're not worried about Derrick Henry already. So they know that it doesn't matter how good of a running back the Titans think they have, they know it ain't a Derrick Henry. So you can go ahead and say the Patriots should have they should do a decent job, if anything, stopping the run. I think they're going to do a great job stopping the run. Next, you got to have Now you're saying Tannehill got to beat them. I don't think they fear Tannehill at all. I think they're going to pick Tannehill off a couple times. He just came off of a 4 interception game. This could look worse. Like, you're really seeing what Tannehill is without Derrick Henry. And it ain't looking pretty right now. But I think the Patriots defense about to put together another crazy game. And obviously Mac Jones probably will get all the credit for it. But we don't care about that right now. I think the Patriots defense is about to make a statement. Big statement. Even though, yeah, it's against a banged up Titans team. But I think the biggest thing in this game is no Derrick Henry against a defense like this. Oh boy, it's going to be a nightmare situation. So I'm taking New England to win this one. The Jets of Houston. I'll take Houston to win that one. The Chargers in Denver. I'm taking the Chargers to win this one. They know they got to get back on that horse and win. This is a divisional game, too. For me, it all comes down to the fact that Denver is an offensively challenged team. And the Chargers could explode at any moment. Because of that, I'm taking the Chargers. And the Chargers have a bad defense. It's no two ways around it. So I do think this is going to be a close game because of that. Like, the Chargers defense, I saw somebody say on TV, the Chargers defense look like it get worse every fucking play. Well, they didn't say the fucking part. But, yeah, I agree. The Chargers defense is bad. And so I do think they'll be acceptable to give it up a play or two. Stay on the field too low. But in the end, I do think Justin Herbert will be able to make more plays than Teddy Bridgewater. And they should get that game in Denver. It's going to be a tough game because it's a divisional game. Divisional games are always tough, bro. No matter what people tell you. And the last game of the night. Oh, man. Sunday night. Waiting all day. Divisional game. Cleveland travels to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson, 120% sure he's going to play on Sunday. He is 4-1 against Baker Mayfield. And boy, this a weird one. This is a weird one because I do expect I want Baltimore to win, and I'm picking us to win. But I don't know what to expect from Baltimore no more, because if the offense don't go out there and dominate like Lamar Jackson usually do against the Browns, it's going to be a close one, and it could be a loss. Because I'm scared that this defense won't be able to stop Nick Chubb, that they might let Nick Chubb go stupid. And while I'm not really necessarily worried about Baker, I'm worried about this defense. This defense done let almost every quarterback they played against get a big play on them. Tua got a big play on him. Jacoby Brissett was able to get a big play on him. Jared Goff got a big play on him. Carson Wentz got multiple big plays on him. Kirk Cousins got big plays on him. Patrick Mahomes got big plays on him. Derek Carr got big plays on him. The only quarterback that didn't pop a big play on them. No, even Justin Herbert had beat them over the top for a big play. So the Baltimore Ravens every single week have given up big plays. So it's no reason for me to believe that they won't give up a big play to this offense again this week, whether it be on the ground or running. They usually give up a big play for a short pass. They'll let it go for a shit ton of yards because they forget how to tackle. And then they'll give up a big play over the top because nobody will cover the dude, and they'll let him run right by him in the open field. So I already expect 14 points to be put up on the board on Baltimore. So now I'm already saying, now how many points do I expect Baltimore to put up? Because I'm basically giving teams 14 points off rip against Baltimore at all times at this point. Just off of what Baltimore's defense has done this year. Now, I believe Baltimore can put up more than 14 points, but the last month of football for Baltimore has not been kind offensively and has not been good or Like, Greg Roman's going to have to be better, and so is Lamar and all the dudes on the team. Can't have drop passes. Got to be able to pick up these blitzes. The offensive line gave up 6 fucking sacks on Huntley last week. That cannot keep happening. I at this point, I don't even know what you look for in the draft if you Baltimore. Do you go get offensive linemen, or do you go get defensive players? I just don't know. And that's why I keep telling people, bro, to say Baltimore didn't need Odell was stupid. Because if you could get another receiver on this team that's a proven receiver that could alleviate the pressure off of the other guys and just let these dudes on offense go, that could take a lot of pressure off of a defense that's just not that good. And I know it's a stat to say Baltimore the best team in the league, or one of the best teams in the league at getting teams off the field on third down. That's because a lot of teams don't even need to get to third down against this defense. So I don't care about that stat. That's a misleading stat. This is a bad defense. So I think this will be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a normal blowout that we usually have when we play the Browns. I think it'll be a close game. And I was leaning towards actually getting on here and picking Cleveland to win that game, not so I can make myself have an excuse to say, well, I did pick them. No, because I'll be pissed off either way. Only because Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is what scared me. Nick Chubb could go nuts against this defense. But the problem is, I believe the defense will be able to stop the run before it can stop the pass. The second problem to that is Baker Mayfield, I just don't believe, will dominate this offense, our defense, the way a Patrick Mahomes or a Derek Carr could do. I just don't believe it. I have to see it happen to believe it could happen. And then I just say it was an aberration, probably. And with Baker being as beat up as he is, I'm going to tell you one thing. Baltimore should win this game. If they go out there and lay a dud again, then it's time to start questioning. I already told you I don't feel like this team could win a Super Bowl right now based on how bad this defense is, because Patrick Mahomes getting better. He waking up. And you ain't about to survive a second game with him doing the goofy shit. And it's so funny that since that game, the defense done got worse. Patrick Mahomes done got better. So, very interesting. I know he only put up 16 or 19 points against Dallas, but he been winning these games. And I know people saying, well, Baltimore got a good record. Yeah. But we was critical of the Chiefs through that winning streak. And I'm going to remain to be critical of Baltimore and his defense, because I know this team could win a Super Bowl if they get a couple things fixed. The running game is still atrocious for Baltimore also. Like I said, every time I talk about Baltimore's offense, take Lamar Jackson's production out of it, and you're left with one of the worst run games in the league. There's no two ways around it. So when you can't run the ball, you don't have an offensive coordinator that's drawing up good enough pass plays to lean heavy into the passing game, and you got him putting Lamar in trouble by just running these goofy ass quarterback runs that lead to 2 yards and a bunch of people jumping on top of Lamar. And then you got Wink Martindale up there drawing up 0 blitzes at the absolute worst times when he playing with basically 2 hands tied behind his back. So I just want somebody to make it make sense for me. I'm going to take Baltimore, but I'm not happy. I'm not really confident in that pick either. One of the biggest reasons, probably the only reason I'm taking Baltimore, is because of Lamar Jackson, to be completely honest with you, because Baltimore's defense has just not done anything for me this year. They really have just absolute scared me going forward. Like, they could just lay a dud at any moment. And the running game is not getting any better. So really the only thing Baltimore has to lay his hat on is, can we dominate in the passing game this week? And if we can't do that, we will probably lose. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win this one by a field goal. And with that, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint podcast, man. That was the Week 12 predictions and breakdowns for the 3 games that did happen on Thanksgiving, man. And somebody got to send this to the NFL and let them hear my advice for them on that Thanksgiving Day games, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Fuck the 3 games. We need to cut it down to 2. Get 2 playoff contending teams in there, and then get 2 legitimate playoff teams in there. And I'm telling you, you're going to get your viewership up. But I'm tired. It's been a long weekend. I know y'all tired. It's been a long weekend for y'all too, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the food and everything y'all did on yesterday's day. Hope you're enjoying your day, night, afternoon, and all that type of good shit. Tell somebody you fuck with them, man. Saying out.
You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps cause they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke.